Please, if you have never listened to a message with apt, intense, intentional attention, please, I would like you to listen to this. It will change everything about your life. It will change your perspective to life. It will change your mindset. It will reorganize your orientation. Why the wicked are in charge. Why the wicked are in charge. The Bible says that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Psalm 24 verse 1. And in Genesis chapter 1, the earth was without form and void. God created the heavens and the earth. God created it. What does that mean? It means that God owns everything. One, he created everything. Two, he owns everything. Three, he gave it to man, what he owned. But why is it that the tide changed suddenly? Luke chapter 4 verse 5 and verse 6. And the devil taking him up, that's Jesus Christ, into an high mountain, showed unto him what? All the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. It's like bringing you into this place and show you the whole place. I say, oh yeah, let's go. In a moment. Verse 6. And the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee, and the glory of them. Can you hear that? The power, the glory. For that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I what? I give it. Now, two questions quickly come to mind from that. They are mine. One, who gave him? Who gave him? Because he didn't create it, so he doesn't own it. So how come that he's claiming ownership of it? How come that he's in possession of it? That they are mine. It was given to him. Who gave him? Now, in Genesis chapter 1, God created man. In verses 26 through 28, he gave man dominion. After creating man and blessed man and gave them dominion, and said, take charge, rule over the place, take possession of the earth, I give it to you. But in Genesis chapter 3, now to show what God said, he created a garden, put man in charge, and said, oh yeah, give them names. Any tree, whatsoever name you call the trees, whatsoever name you call the animals, all of them is confirmed. That's to show you dominion. It's like you have a child. You said, okay, you give this child a name. Whatsoever name you give this child, I will accept it. And the person names the child. Now, in chapter 3, Adam committed the highest crime on earth. That crime called treason. Treason, high treason. Now, when you commit treason in the war by law, the only punishment is death. Is death. That's why Adam died spiritually. So Adam handed over the dominion, the possession, the ownership that God gave him and gave it to the devil. So that answers the first question that he asked, that he said to Jesus, for that it was delivered unto me. So that has addressed that. Number two, he said, to whomsoever I will, I give it. So who will he give it to? Because he had told Jesus here, verse 7, if thou therefore will worship me, all shall be what? Shall be thine. I will give them to you. So the answer comes in that it is whosoever submits to him, whosoever worships him, whosoever submits to him. Are you getting it? Because he has been given the power, he has been given the possession. If I will something to you now, it's your choice to give it to whosoever you desire. Just like me, there are things I've been given. I've never worn them. If they are clothes, shoes, I've never worn them. But because they've been given to me, so it is my choice and decision. I give it to whomsoever I will. They've given me money, several monies, but I give it to whomsoever I what? I will. So that is the play out here. Follow me carefully. Now, can you see in the first place, is your mind changing now why the wicked is in charge? The moment you worship Satan, you become a worshiper of Satan. True worshiper of Satan. He channels the wealth. 1 John chapter 3 verse 12. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one. Have you seen it now? He submitted himself as what? As a tool. He has submitted his sonship to the devil and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brothers what? Righteous. Have you seen the two ways now? Have you seen the origin now? So the man called Cain submitted himself to worship the devil, while Abel, that he killed, was righteous, submitted to the worship of his creator. That's why you see Jesus made a statement in Matthew chapter 13 verses 29, 30, then 38. But he said, nay, less while, okay, maybe let's start 27. He said, do you not sow good seeds? So the servant of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it thus? And he said unto them, an enemy had done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we what? Go and gather them up? Verse 29. But he said, no. Lest while he gather up the tares, he roots up also the wheat with them. That's a strange statement. Let both do what? Grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into where? The field, verse 38, is the world. Have you seen now? The world we are in. The good seed are what? The children of the kingdom. But the tares are what? The children of the wicked one. Have you seen the two worlds now? Have you seen the difference? So, Jesus was telling them that God cannot destroy the wicked on earth now. Because if he uses flood, the righteous will go with them. The righteous will be destroyed also. If they come and they start using fire, burning everywhere, bomb, believers will also be involved. They will die. So he said, no. That's why you see that the same rain falling upon the roof of the righteous is falling upon the roof of the wicked. The only mystery is that Colossians 1:13, he has delivered us from darkness to the kingdom of his dear son. So, Satan has no dominion over us. We have dominion, but we are not exercising the dominion. Let's go to chapter 4. After Cain killed Abel, chapter 4, verse 25 and verse 26 of Genesis. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son and called his name Seth. For God, she said, hath appointed me another seed instead of who? Abel, whom Cain slew. Have you seen now? Another righteous one has come on board. 26. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to what? To call upon the name of the Lord. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. Two wings. The wicked, the righteous. So the righteous now, God has made a replacement so that he can be worshipped. So the coming of Seth was to replace who? Abel. Because Abel was a worshiper of God. Cain was a worshiper of Satan. That's why wickedness was in him. So that's to say, when you show wickedness, who is your father? Satan. When you are wicked, that when you see your neighbor share a testimony, when you hear somebody drive new car, have testimony, or inside your heart, you don't want anybody to rise except you, then who is your father? Now, men began to worship God. Why do we have the believers not in charge of systems and structures? This is the scripture I've read. Now, God gave man two wings to operate on earth. What are the two wings? One, the first wing of priesthood. Two, which is the second, the wing of kingship. He has made us priests and kings, that we might what? Reign on the earth. Revelation 5:10. And has made unto us unto our God kings and what? And priests. And we shall what? Reign on the earth, the harvest field, the world that we saw in 38 of Matthew 13. Has made unto us our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. Now, but man, the righteous one, focused on what? On worship. Now, this is the worship, the priesthood connects you, the vertical. The kingship is horizontal. That's why you have the cross. Up, down, so you can take charge. You need priesthood for power. For power. You need kingship for resources, for control of systems on earth here. So, having priesthood power without kingship resources, which the church is passing through. Check government. The 7 mountains, who are the ones in charge? The mountain of religion, the mountain of sports and entertainment. Who are the people in charge? The economic mountain. Who are the people in charge? So Satan created the 7 mountains to take charge. I've taught this before. You should check one of the messages on taking territories. That's why in chapter 7, anytime you see Satan being mentioned as a dragon, as this thing, you see him with 7 horns. The 7 horns represent the what? The 7 mountains that is controlling the world. One of the mountains is religion. One of the mountains is economic. One of the mountains is sports and entertainment. So he has positioned them. So the church held on to what? Priesthood, worship. So when they finish worshiping, they go and beg unbelievers. I will show you the origin, how they took charge. Look at this. Let's go to same chapter 4 of Genesis. Let's start from verse 16. After God gave the punishment on Cain, Cain knew, I don't have anything. I've lost worship. I can no longer worship God. So let me look for alternative, because I know the mandate. The mandate is for worship, the priesthood. I've lost priesthood. Let me go to kingship. So he went for kingship. Look at this. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord. Have you seen that? He lost priesthood. And dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. Verse 17. Look at the beginning of the dominion. Verse 17. And Cain knew his wife, and conceived, and bare Enoch. Not this other Enoch that walked with God. And he did what? He builded a city. He builded a city. And called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. Now, number 1. This is real estate. They built a city. So, 1, the wicked, the task, they are the one that started what? Building projects. So number 1, they took charge of real estate, which is one of the mountains. So write down number 1, real estate. That's why you see them. They are into real, heavily in charge. Properties everywhere. But believers will sing singing praise and worship after worshiping God in church. They stay under trees. They now go to look for house to rent from unbelievers, the wicked. Let's move further. Let's see their verse 18. And unto Enoch was born Irad. Irad begat Mehujael. Mehujael begat Methuselah. And Methuselah begat Lamech. Now look at verse 19. And Lamech took unto him how many wives? 2 wives. So number 2, they started polygamy. They are the originator of polygamy. They are the originator of gay, incest, lesbianism. Now we go further. Verse 20. And Ada bare Jabal, and he was the father of such as dwell in what? In tents. They started building tents. There are tents that look like houses. Have you seen them? Excellently perfect. From tents, they are all there in scripture. They graduated to building with brisk block. They took charge. What did they do? And look at that same 20. And of such as have what? Cattle. They are the originator of animal husbandry. All this cattle rearing, the rest. How many believers have you seen dealing with cows? Who are when you call cow, who do you refer to? The FULNESS. Abi? The unbelievers. Have you seen now? Let's go further. Verse 21. So that's the third one. Number 3, that's the third one. Animal husbandry. So we go to them to beg for meat. 21. And his brother's name was Juba. He was the father of all such as handle what? The harp and the organ. Entertainment industry. They produce the equipment, the instruments we see here. They produce them. Have you seen now? Have you seen why they are in charge? That Davido will enter a place, Burna Boy will enter a place. They gather the crowd that the church cannot gather, that the gospel artists cannot gather. And people still pay. Yet you do a gospel program, people don't pay to come in. Yet you won't see them. But the other ones, they pay, yet they still go there. Jam-packed, no matter the... For somebody to be feeling Wabelewa Square, you think it's a joke? You see them, they are singing. People, see Michael Jackson, he's singing, doing legs like this, people are fainting. Because they originated it. Verse 22. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer. In what? In brass and iron. In brass, in iron, they became manufacturers. That's the next point they took charge of. They became in charge of security, manufacturing of weapons, mechanized equipment for farm work. They produce the farm. So agriculture, they took charge of agriculture, took charge of security. Because they were producing the brass, the metals. So they have the dominion. Now let's check something so that you understand better. 1 Samuel chapter 13 from verse 19 to 22. 1 Samuel. You are going to see a miserable thing. Now there was no what? Smith. What's the work of a smith? A blacksmith. Found throughout where? All the land of where? Israel. Can you see now? The covenant children. No weapon. No this thing. For the Philistines said, let the Hebrews make them swords or spears. 20. But all the Israelites went to where? Down to the Philistines to do what? To sharpen every man's share. That's to say, all the weapons, all the farm instruments, they didn't even have what it takes in the whole of Israel to file them. Not even, we are not talking producing them. They don't have the ones to fire. So the unbelievers were in charge of it. Go to 21. Yet they had a fire for the mattocks and for the cutlass and for the forks, for the axes to sharpen the goats. Can you hear that? 22 now. Look at this. So it came to pass in the day of battle that there was neither what? Sword nor spear found in the hand of any of the people that were with what? With Saul and Jonathan. But with Saul and with Jonathan, his son was found. So only the king and his son, because of his capacity, so as a king, he could obtain one. No weapon to fight. Have you seen why Buhari will come on board and tell you that they should withdraw all licenses of gun? People with licenses, they withdraw them. But rather, they buy AK-47 and be giving to herdsmen. When human beings die before, they will kill a cow. But Buhari's regime, when a cow dies, they kill a human being. Have you seen why the wicked Buhari came to do such thing? It's scriptural. It's their father. And you see ignorant preachers telling you you should submit yourself to be killed in this generation. When Jesus said, do you have sword? Go and sell your cloak and buy. And keep as a defense mechanism. So they slaughter the believers with the ignorant mindset that you submit yourself. He died like a lamb, but he resurrected as a lion. That's why I said the Lion of the tribe of Judah has what? Has prevailed. So the church left kingship and focused on priesthood. That's why you see the church, they keep teaching you, give, it shall be given. They teach prosperity, but the prosperity is in the hands of those people. They teach you discipleship, how to worship God, how to serve God, but they don't teach you strategies, how to take over systems. What's the way out? What must we do? Number one, prayer. What kind of prayer? Prayer to destroy the blindfolding power of the devil. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 4. In whom the God of this world has blinded. So he blinds the church. He blinds the believers. He blinds the people. Paul was speaking. He said, let's be very careful. Lest Satan beguiled us the same way he beguiled who? Eve, Adam. Is that same deceit pattern. So you pray to destroy. That's why you can see them. Pastors are deceiving you. You go to church, but behind they go to do their sacrifices. They don't tell you what they go to offer. They discourage you from the things that will set you free. They tell you you can watch online. You can go to church. You have the Holy Spirit. What are you going to do? What will the pastor teach you? So why don't they tell them don't go to the mosque? What will Imam teach you? So why do they have lodges everywhere? See here, see there. Why don't they just worship their lodge online? Why do they have meeting days that they go there? What does the priest there tell them? And they will tell you, after all, you too, you will say it. After all this while I've been serving God, what is my gain? I bet make I sit down for house. You are killing your destiny because it's deception in practical terms. So you pray for the veil to be destroyed so that you understand certain things. 2, you pray for systems to turn, for repositioning of systems of your life. Like by prayer, they reposition, Mordecai repositioned Esther into the palace. He was a good man, but he understood the system. What else? So number 1 is prayer. Number 2, teachings to give knowledge and understanding. To know how to combine priesthood with kingship. Because we focus only on priesthood and left kingship. So we are stranded. Check the political structure. Who are the ones in charge? Check economic power. Who are the ones in charge? That's why you see me taking time to do this teaching. Number 3, what else? Go to them to learn. Either you work with them or you serve them. Check mega companies. Who owns them? The mega companies. Who owns them? See Microsoft. See Lafarge. Who owns them? Those are things you do what? Those are things you take time to ask yourself. That's the pattern God brought when he saw things and began to change things. Listen, serving an unbeliever is not a sin when you know why you are there. I'll show you from scriptures. I'll give you examples for time's sake. Now, check how God began to change the system. When God saw that these guys, the bad ones, are in charge, he did something. From the time of Abraham, when he picked Abraham, what did he tell Abraham? Depart to a land I will show you. Move out. So God began to relocate the seed of the woman to begin to go to understudy these people. Now look at this. Joseph went to where? Egypt. That's one. He went to Egypt, Genesis 39, and sat there and began to serve from where? Potiphar's house, to understand systems as a slave. Many believers, pride will kill them. Pride. From there, he entered the prison. From prison, he went to the palace to understudy another system. What else? Number 2, Moses. Same Egypt. I think it should be Acts chapter 7 verse 22. Check Acts 7:22. He was learned in all wisdom of what? Egypt. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty in words and in deeds. Where have you received your training? God needed them to go and understudy these guys. Because you can pray in tongues and die poor. It's not about praying in tongues. You can worship God and die in penury and be serving till you die. What else? You see God move who? Move Israel, entire Israel to Egypt. There were just, I think, about 70 of them. Jacob, his family. Move them to where? To Egypt. They relocated there. And God spake on this wise that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage service. And what? And entreat them evil for 400 years. Serving. To go and serve there. Now, they served there because that was the world power. Power was resident there. Economic power, spiritual power, political power was resident there. So they control. You say, go and serve. You look at an unbeliever that has made it, you say it is written. The believer shall be the head of the DC. Meanwhile, you are empty and poor. You amount to nothing. So you enter government. You learn the government system. You watch them. You can just go there and be a driver. Though you are a graduate too. But you offer to be a driver. To who? To a commissioner. To who? To a minister. To who? Any of the top political appointees. Meanwhile, you are a graduate too. Listen, that is how I understood system. It was by driving a car. I became a driver. I drove from Calabar to Abuja, to Apo village. 2002. That was the first time I entered Apo village. And I saw things. That's how I worked with the Tubom Yasuko, His Excellency, former ambassador to Uganda. And 1 a.m., 11 a.m., you see them. Sometimes I would drive him, me his manager. I became his driver too, became cleaner for him. Sometimes you hear discussion, so I will sit there. I won't sit in the car. I'll go and sit close. You hear strategic discussions. Don't carry certificate and be misbehaving. Don't allow certificate to swell your head and you die empty. You die stupid. Now, it didn't end there. What happens next? David was sent to where? To go and stay with the Philistines. He went to the palace first. The king, Saul, began to persecute him. He ran to where? He ran to the Philistines. And began to understudy their weapon. That's why there was no weapon to fight the Philistines. So the only weapon he had was what? Catapult. When he used that catapult, that was the last time you ever heard of catapult. Because God has sent him there and built the most formidable army on earth. The Israeli army. It was David. He learned how they manufactured those things. Those years he stayed there. That Saul was chasing him. So he could defeat the Philistines. He was the only king that subdued the Philistines all through his reign. Because he has understudied them. Who have you gone to serve? Who have you understudied that has made it in that profession? You say, I cannot go to this one. I'm looking for an unbeliever who is a senior advocate of Nigeria. So I can go there and serve that person. Stay there. No, stay there. Sit down. They wait. You wait and waste. But that won't be your portion. Esther was positioned. God took Mordecai, took them to Babylon. And they went there, understudied the palace. What about Daniel? Daniel, they went to where? They went to the palace. But it was Babylon they went to and understudied things. Please submit yourself. Submit yourself. These guys, they are in money. They are really in money. They are really in power. So when you do this, next one, spend an hour or two every day and be understanding these guys. Find out why is Burna Boy able to fill a place. Davido able to fill a place. You begin to, why is their business so grown? Then you engage the last point here, for time's sake, engage Matthew chapter 10 verse 16. Matthew 10, 16. Why did Jesus tell them? Be as wise as serpents. Who is the serpent? The bad ones. Behold, I send you forth as what? Sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as what? As serpents. Be smart. These guys are smart. They understand dominion. They understand technicalities in negotiation. They can navigate, negotiate, manipulate just to get what they want. They can kill. When it comes to, they have some qualities. So one of the qualities of these bad guys is that they are ruthless. They are what? Ruthless when it comes to success. They can kill, they can sacrifice, they can go extra mile. We should learn their wisdom, the wisdom of Cain, but carry the humility, which is the doof of who? Of Abel. That's the Seth. When you read chapter 5 of Genesis, you will see the genealogy of Seth. You will see they were busy worshiping God. So when you finish worshiping as a member, when you go back, who are you going to depend on? The market system. Unbelievers are in charge. Let me leave it there for the now. When you see me choking my eyes into politics, you think I'm stupid. It's one of the mandates God gave me to open the eyes of the church. To bring kingship into the church. Not just priesthood. The church has held to priesthood. So they are stranded, frustrated. How can it be that the church cannot produce a president? They say, what about Jonathan? Did the church produce him? The church didn't produce him. Jonathan only, it's Obasanjo that called him to come and, like he called Donald Duke. Come and call Odili. After calling Donald Duke said, no, I want to be president. Called Odili. Odili said, no. All the dollars they made, they took it to Abuja and squandered it there. Obasanjo said, me, you small children, I'll teach you a lesson. Carried Yaradua and put there. Carried Jonathan. Yes, sir. He served the system, served unbeliever, and the man passed on. So he took over power. Be humble enough to serve. Even if they give you PA, they say you are PA to so person. As long as that person is in government, be following. Sir, let me clean your shoe. Hey, wait, sir. You show genuine humility because they will test you. They will check you. They will weigh you. They are very wise. They are very smart. They switch over to who is in charge of power. They switch over to who. Listen, you'll be shocked to hear this, but it shouldn't be a surprise. People are not loyal to you, they are loyal to the throne. Who is loyal to Buharina? He has left the seat. With all the begging that Ayade, former sitting governor, 8 years, begged better to submit that appointment to him as a minister, that slot. Did it work out?